tell mothers not to cry. Uhuru got your back, Uhuru don't lie. If we don't do nothing else, we put the state on trial for killing an unarmed, innocent African child. Cause what they call the law ain't nothing but opinions of the blood-sucking parasites who rule over the system. They responsible for turning schools into prisons. We need a court to say what they doing to my niggas. It's far from a mock trial, far from docile. The only difference between our court and theirs is we don't got power. So this is called to seize power like megahertz. Cause these crackers only understand us when they
Kill 1,000 Trayvon.
The Oakland police.
Kill 1,000 Trayvon.
The Oakland police.
Kill 1,000 Trayvon.
And the city of Oakland has yet to answer to the crimes it has committed against our community, and this is why we are holding the court for black justice. So at this point, I would like to introduce to you one of the 3 judges that will preside over the court for black justice. At this point, I would like to bring to you Sister Anita Wills. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Yes, I'd like to say that my grandson was murdered. My grandson was murdered in East Oakland. He was born in Oakland. He was murdered in Oakland on January the 16th, 2011. And the Oakland Police Department has done nothing to find out who murdered my grandson, who is considered a victim and who was also set upon. I mean, the people who killed him, you know, waited for him, were laid in wait for him. And as soon as I said those words, I wrote those words that they laid in wait for him, the Oakland Police Department had a fit. They did not want me to say that. And the more that I talk about my grandson, the more pressure they put on me to be quiet, don't talk about it. And the other thing is that there was a young lady that was raped by Lake Merritt. And the Oakland Police Department immediately, you know, identified her rapist as a black man and then put up a $5,000 reward to find this black man. Well, my heart goes out to that young lady. She didn't deserve that. I wonder why they didn't put up 1 penny to find out who killed my grandson, who was a victim. Why didn't they put up any reward? And I've asked them, I've asked the chief of police, I've asked Mayor Kwan, why don't you offer a reward for the, you know, capture of those who murdered my baby, my grandson, you know? And this is a genocide to me. Trayvon Martin is not the first one. It's been going on. It went on after slavery. They were lynching black men, not just in the South, they were being lynched in the North, you know? And they've continued that with these police who are nothing but a militia. And they sucking the lifeblood out of our cities. They get most of the money that comes into the city. And what are they doing? They're protecting these business interests, most of whom do not live in Oakland. You know, that's what BART is about, bringing the suburbs into Oakland to work and getting them out safely. And the little bit of work that they did offer us, people of color, was taken away. Now we don't have anything where they have to respect us, where they have to educate us, where we are given afforded the same rights as every other citizen in this country. And I consider that genocide. I consider the murder of our young men, not just in Oakland, but all over this country, genocide. And it's a shame when I look around and I see someone that's over 26 and I feel like patting them on the back and saying, oh God, you made it. They didn't kill you. You made it. Because they have a mandate to kill young black men. And no one is carrying it out better than the city of Oakland, the Oakland Police Department. And then all these so-called African Americans working here who have positions are saying nothing. They sit quiet, glad it's not theirs. Just glad it's not theirs. Just keep quiet. Keep praying. Say nothing. Well, I'm not a part of that party. I'm a part of this party.
All right.
We charge you with genocide.
That's right.
America. Genocide. Murderers, thieves, you're greedy, you're liars, right, and you're pigs. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru. Right, Anita. Tell it like it is.
OPD, you can't hide, we charge you with
genocide.
OPD, you can't hide, we charge you
with genocide.
That's why we got to have our own courts and our own power. So at this point, I would like to introduce to you Cephas Johnson, who is the uncle of Oscar Grant.
First, I want to say I am the uncle of Oscar Grant, and to share the travesty of what we experience in this racist criminal justice system, along with these racist police officers that exist in our community. It is clear that what happened to Oscar on that platform was just a blatant racist act by these police officers here in Oakland, California. We know in 1974, the California Supreme Court granted defendants, those that were brutalized or murdered by the police officers here in Oakland, access to police employment files under certain circumstances. That prompted the police department to start shredding records until in 1977, Police Association and the union won the Peace Officers Bill of Rights, along with key sections of California Penal Code exempting all personnel information from laws allowing residents access to public records. It is a travesty that we do not know what police officers are working in our community that come into our community and kill our young black and brown men in our community. It is a fact that we have the biggest prison institution in the world. 2.4 million men are incarcerated here in the United States, more than anywhere else in this world. And over 80% are black and brown men. We're dealing with a racist criminal justice system, institutionalized racism that is exhibited from the fact of white supremacy. So let's be clear. During the trial of Oscar Grant, the defense attorney Michael Raines took the silhouette of Oscar's body that showed how the projectile traveled through his body, making the argument that he resisted arrest. That silhouette, he then looked at the judge and tossed it on the table and said, let's call this KKK. A blatant slap in the face. The media needs to report that to the world.
That's right. That's right.
Michael Raines took the exhibit that showed how the bullet went through Oscar's body, a picture for us all to see. They called it KKK. Let's be clear. Judge Robert Perry claimed he made a mistake as a judicial figure when it came to the gun enhancement, that the jury of Johannes Messley Peel came back finding guilty with the gun enhancement. Had it not been for Robert Perry claiming he had made a judicial error, and yet we were in court for 2 years because Johannes Messley claimed he had made a mistake grabbing his gun instead of his taser. Now here we have a judicial figure, another head of this racist criminal justice system, taking the gun enhancement off the table, claiming that he instructed the jury wrong, thereby giving him the right to give Johannes Messley 2 years time served, 2 years with good time served, which he only served 11 months, and he's out walking these streets today. Let's be clear. Tony Peroni used racial epithets, 2 of them. The world knows this, and Alameda County Police Department still hasn't issued a warrant for his arrest for a hate crime on that platform. He was an accessory to murder. He held Oscar down, used racial epithets before he took him to the ground, and yet he is still walking these streets as if nothing ever happened. We need to be clear that these racist police officers, Oakland Police Department, needs to be dealt with. The Policeman's Bill of Rights needs to be changed, allowing the community the right to be able to investigate these police officers' records. Because if we had that ability, we would be able to stop half of the killing that is going on right now with these police officers in our community. Many of them, yes, in California and across this country, but many of them, as we know, have already been involved in 2, 3 shootings, if not murders, police brutality, using racial epithets, all in their record. And yet we're not entitled to know who these officers are. It is a travesty by the Oakland Police Department to not remove these individuals or at least put some sanctions on them so that we can be protected from being killed in our communities. What is America asking us to do? We cannot continue to accept Trayvon Martin's being murdered in our communities. What is America asking us to do? These are our babies and they have a right to life just like anyone else. Our black and brown men that are being murdered at the rate that they're being murdered at is heinous, is egregious, and it's real angerifying. You have many in the community that is tired, that are hurting, and it's time for it to stop. And I, as a family member who have experienced this racist criminal justice system, experienced the racist police officers in this community, stand in solidarity with the Euro House and seeking and putting the Oakland Police Department on trial for the murders they've committed in our community. Uhuru. That's right, Uhuru. All right, thank you.
Oakland police killed 1,000 Trayvons. Oakland police
Killed 1,000 Trayvons.
Oakland police
Killed 1,000 Trayvons.
Oakland police
Killed 1,000 Trayvons.
Yes, we really appreciate the stance being taken by Brother Cephas Johnson, Sister Nina Wells, who both have a first-hand experience of the outright violence and terror that this Oakland Police Department inflicts on the black community. And more than that, they are taking a stance to say enough is enough. We must take control of the process of justice into our own hands. And we unite with the call to release, the city must immediately release the names of all these cops who have a record of terrorizing African people. And this is part of what we will accomplish through the Court for Black Justice, where we will hear testimony from victims and witnesses of police terror and brutality and murder. And after hearing all of the evidence, our panel of judges will go with the people's sentence, the people's verdict, and the people's sentence, which will come in the form of real concrete demands, a program that serves to transform the relationship that the police currently have with the African community. Our demands will include immediate establishment of a community-controlled and independent community-controlled police supervisory board with power to hire and fire police officers and administration, as well as subpoena power, so that we don't have to rely on the DA or internal affairs to bring these terroristic cops to trial. But this community-controlled board would assume absolute responsibility and jurisdiction over the prosecution process. We also will demand absolute economic development for the African community. Instead of 40% of the city's budget being spent on police and prisons, we are calling for those monies, those resources to go towards economic development under the leadership of the African community and in the form of programs that the Uhuru House is currently carrying out. And finally, we demand reparations for the victims and the family members of the victims of this police terror. We demand reparations. The Oscar Grant family should be paid reparations for the tragic loss. Sister Anita Wells' family should be paid reparations. And not just in terms of money, but the perpetrators of this crime need to be brought to justice. That's a part of the reparations process. And lastly, we want to say very clearly that our fundamental demand is for African people ourselves to have community control over the police. Because at the end of the day, after hearing all of this evidence that clearly exposes the fact that the police are the ones who were supposed to uphold the law, are the ones who act like criminals in our community, that therefore the community itself has a right and a responsibility to do whatever is necessary to stop these criminals, to stop these terrorists. And